Ben McKee, West Rucker, Go Vols 24/7 here inside of Coleman Coliseum in Tuscaloosa, Alabama, where Tennessee just pulled off a massive 81-74 win over Alabama. First things first, Tennessee's now in first place in the SEC with 2 games remaining going into the final week of the regular season, and they still have some work to do because they have some tough games coming up and Alabama doesn't. We can touch on that on the way out the door. So big win in that regard, but just ultra impressive because they didn't necessarily do anything well in terms of the typical basketball things you think of, Wes, but what won them the game, the things that they did do well, were the staples of a Rick Barnes and this Tennessee basketball program.
Yeah, heart, soul, and stones. I mean, it came down to those 3 things. You know, this is Alabama. I don't think is the best team in the country. I think it's a team that's not great defensively. It's got some flaws in it, but it's a very, very good team. And it is statistically the best offense in college basketball, especially in this building.
Yes.
To hold Alabama at one point, almost 10 minutes in the second half without a field goal. I think Bama in a 15-minute stretch was like 3 of 23 to end the game. To do that in any building, let alone this building, it's unbelievable. I mean, it's
truly.
You know, Tennessee did not need Superman other than a couple buckets in this game. They did it the old-fashioned way, and if they're going to go long in the NCAA tournament, they're going to have a game that's going to be like this, and they're going to have to do it, and this is a great trial run.
Yeah, and I don't mean to make it seem like they didn't do anything well. Obviously, they did something well to win in this building, but they struggled to shoot the basketball for a good chunk of the night. Jonas Adu and Tobey Walker were in foul trouble for the majority of the night. Dalton Connect was in foul trouble on top of not having his best performance that he's had. But they won it because Josiah Jordan-James goes and rebounds double digits. Zakai Ziegler and Santiago Vescovi and Jemai Meshack defense, making the extra pass, winning the loose balls, all the things that Rick Barnes has built this basketball program on. Not that those 4 were the only guys, but the veterans is what Rick talked about in postgame. Those veterans led Tennessee to this win with those nitty-gritty, grinded-out type of plays.
Yeah, you know, when Bama starts going on a bender in this building, when they hit those couple quick threes, I mean, Rick Barnes calls them bolts of lightning, and it comes at you quick. Look at the end of that first half. Connect goes in foul trouble. They go on a 12-0 run. All of a sudden, they've controlled the first half, and they go into the break down by 2. And then they get up in the second half, and then Bama comes back again, but they just had to hang in there. Tennessee just had to hang in there and just wait for a couple of flashes. And what do they get? Right over here on the other side of this court, Meshack hits a 3, forces the steal. Adu gets the and 1. The game turns right there. And you had to hold on, hit them with a couple of them, and then just flex down the stretch, and they did that.
Yeah, and last couple of things before we get out of here. First, who knows what will happen in the NCAA tournament? There's no way of knowing. Tennessee looks really good right now. That doesn't guarantee anything going into the NCAA tournament. But I think if you're a Tennessee fan, you just have to feel different. And even for the most skeptical fans, I think you have to kind of force yourself into it because there's plenty of evidence with this particular bunch that it feels different going into March, just with the variety of ways that it can win from a pure basketball standpoint. And then also the grit and the toughness and the adversity. It doesn't wilt in the face of adversity. And, you know, Josiah Jordan-James reluctantly said, like, yes, this is the first time in my career with 1,000% conviction, without a doubt, he feels that they can overcome anything in their way.
Yeah, and I think this game tonight did as much for me as anything all season long to think that this, I mean, there's things like, you know, when they're getting it put on them at UNC and they come back and make that a game, there's little flashes here and there where they've had some brilliant moments. They really have some big wins along the way. They played a great schedule. But a game like this, when they prove, you know what, Connect doesn't have to be Connect every single game for this team to win. To come here and win with Connect being just sort of a good player, not the elite player he has been all season long, that's huge. And these guys can say all day long, yeah, we knew we could do this. Yeah, we knew we could do this. But really? I mean, really? I mean, it's you have to prove it in moments. They proved it tonight. Like, there should be no doubt whatsoever from anyone in that program tonight. If there wasn't any to begin with, it should be gone now, that they can withstand it, because this was a statement performance tonight.
Yeah,
as ugly as it was at times, a statement.
Yeah, and tonight proves that there was no doubt. In hindsight, tonight, the way they performed proves that there was no doubt from those guys in the locker room that they could battle through it. But from the outside looking in, to your point, prove it to us, and I feel like they've done it previously. But if, again, for the most skeptical Vol fans out there, if tonight doesn't prove it to you, I don't know what will. Just a massive week. I mean, Alabama, Auburn have kind of been the thorns in the side of Rick Barnes while he's been at Tennessee, and in 1 week he sweeps the Yellowhammer State in pretty convincing fashion, and the job's not done in terms of winning an SEC championship, because this week was tough. This upcoming week will be just as tough.
Yeah, I mean, this was the second of 3 or 4 SEC championship games basically in a row. Like if Tennessee wins at South Carolina, Tennessee will be the number 1 seed in the tournament, no matter what. But you still you don't want to share a championship, right? You want to just win the thing. This is as good as I remember the SEC being in terms of 7 to 9, like 7 solid NCAA tournament teams. A couple more who are right there in the bubble. This league is tough, man. This league has gotten better. The coaching's gotten better. The facilities have gotten better. It started to mean more in basketball finally, and to do that in this season, if they can finish the drill, if they can go in the league this season, I know the big tournament matters. I know that's the big one. Everyone knows that. But do not, sit here and yuck the yum of maybe winning the SEC this season. It would be a huge accomplishment.
It absolutely would. SEC championships should still matter. Winning your conference should still matter.
They put banners up there for it. I
mean, they absolutely do, and they absolutely should. So a lot coming up. And if I'm Tennessee, I'd rather win the regular season championship than the SEC tournament, if I'm being completely honest, because I think it's more impressive when you do it over 2.5 months period of time rather than possibly getting hot for a weekend, which we've seen some teams do. Not that Tennessee's would be luck if they won the SEC tournament, but it's more impressive when you do it for 2.5 months.
Got to play Bama twice, got to play Kentucky, South Carolina, Bama, all twice. I mean, they've had one of the toughest schedules in the league, and here they are.
Absolutely, and we will have plenty of coverage from this win up on the site at GoVols 24/7, obviously. Then we'll make our way over to Columbia on Wednesday night for that massive matchup as well. South Carolina beating a top 25 Florida team earlier today as a top 25 team, so that'll be a top 20, top 25 matchup once again for Tennessee, and we'll have coverage of it all week long up at GoVols247.com. He's Wes Rucker. I'm Ben McKee.